Hello and welcome back to this video. We're setting up Centrify multi-factor authentication on Unix Linux systems that have been joined using Centrify Express. In the previous video, we set up a cloud connector. We set up a role that allows machines to mutually authenticate against the cloud connector and satisfy MFA requests on behalf of the user. We also set up an authentication profile, and we're ready to go. But now let's talk about parameters, right? So Centrify Express is managed by parameters. You can use your DevOps solutions like Chef and Puppet to manage these parameters. And at the same time, if you have the licensed Centrify version, you can use GPOs. But let's talk about these parameters, right? So the first parameter is legacy zone MFA enabled. It's by default set up to false, right? So I've set it up to true, and this is the corresponding GPO that does that, right? So this is basically your on and off switch. Then we can use either users, list users, or groups to require MFA. In my particular case, I have a group called MFA required, and what I've done in Active Directory is that I've set up a group in AD, and I've added Lisa into this group, so she's going to be our test user. The reason why I'm doing this is for effective administration. The next is if you want to enable rescue rights. So for those who saw the Centrify MFA on the licensed version, right, rescue rights allows to have a mechanism for high availability in the case that there's no cloud connectors or there's no connectivity out to this system. So I've actually set up myself as a rescue user, so I'm not going to be challenged, and I can go and fix stuff as needed. The next one is, and final one, is going to be the URL, right? So my recommendation is that you use the default URL that is shipped, because vanity URLs can be changed, right? So if what you don't want is that if the vanity URL changes, then you have to do change control for all your Unix Linux systems using this. There's some others, like if you are using a proxy server, they're outlined in the blog. And let's do a quick test, right? So another thing is your authentication profile, right? So what I've done is I've enabled this profiles here, so I can get step up using phone call, SMS, email, but in mobile authenticator, but I don't have a phone registered yet. I'm going to do this in the next video. We're going to do a mobile authenticator, and we're going to do also Google Authenticator. But I need to make sure that the end user I'm going to use has this information populated inside ADUC. For example, my test I'm going to do with email, right? It's actually most visible. And step up is not necessarily multi-factor, but let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this session, and I'm going to log in as Lisa. And I'm going to be prompted for my password. And the next thing is I'm going to be prompted for multi-factor. As you can see, this looks exactly like my authentication profile, right? And I can go and pick, in this case, email. And I have her email already open here. So what I'm expecting is an email saying, hey, just like the one that I have on the screen, you need verification. Once I'm done, and here it is, I can just click on it, continue with authentication. And once I'm done, I can click on this, and I should be able to log in, no problem. So, and this is all in the back end using REST APIs, right? Some of the cool stuff, and notice that I'm able to log in, right? So, as you can see, everything worked as expected. If I want to log in as myself, right, and I want to duplicate sessions, because I have rescue rights, I should only have one challenge, right? And there you have it. So this is a quick demo on what are the parameters and Centrify multi-factor. In the next video, we're going to register a phone, and we're going to capture an OTP code, and you're going to see some of the cool stuff that can be done.